Now here for the people across northern Israel, the day began with a sound that nobody wanted to hear. Air raid sirens. Iran launched missiles towards Israel, marking the first major missile attack since the ceasefire. And within seconds, emergency alerts flashed across the screens. Families rushed towards the shelters. Children were moved indoors. Security forces moved into emergency mode. Across the country, people watched the skies. In many cities, daily lives came at standby as the residents they waited very anxiously for any sort of update. In the meantime, Israeli defense system immediately began intercepting the incoming threats. But officials they later claimed that most missiles they were either intercepted or they failed to reach the intended target here. But let's be honest here, videos circulating online appear to show explosions and impact. In fact, sparking fresh debate about the effectiveness of missile air defense system during a prolonged conflict. Here, military experts they often remind us of one important fact: no defense shield is perfect. Every interception it costs money. Every attack tests the readiness, and every missile launch increases the possibility of error. And every error it has consequences. The bigger concern is what may happen next. If missile launches become more frequent, pressure will definitely build on Israeli leaders to respond. And if Israel responds, Iran could retaliate again. Now that dangerous cycle is exactly what diplomats are desperately trying to prevent. Regional governments they are watching very nervously because even a limited conflict between Israel and Iran, it has the potential to disrupt the trade, energy supplies and the security across the West Asia. What started as a single missile launch, it could quickly become something much larger. Can you imagine being one of America's most closest ally and suddenly being told that you don't get the final say? Well, that's exactly what happened when Mr. Donald Trump made one of his strongest comments yet about Benjamin Netanyahu. Well, he kind of declared that if the United States negotiates a deal with Iran, Israel will simply have to accept it. And then came the statement that instantly made global headlines. Mr. Trump said that I call all the shots. He doesn't call the shots. Can you think about how extraordinary that is? For decades, the US-Israel relations have been built on close cooperation. American presidents have traditionally worked alongside Israeli leaders on major security decisions. But Mr. Trump's remark, it suggests something different this time. He wants the entire world to know that Washington intends to remain firmly in control of negotiations with Tehran. What's even more remarkable is the timing here. These comments came just hours after Iran launched missile towards Israel. Here, many observers, they expected Israel to respond immediately and aggressively. Instead, reports suggest that Mr. Trump personally urged Mr. Netanyahu to hold back. Why? Because Washington fears a much bigger war this time. American officials do understand that one large Israeli retaliation, it could trigger another Iranian response. And that response, it could really trigger another Israeli strike. And suddenly the entire region, it could be pulled into a conflict that nobody can control. Here, Mr. Trump insists that diplomacy remains alive and has repeatedly said that military action alone cannot solve the Iran issue. Well, he believes a negotiated settlement, it remains possible despite the rising tension. But for Netanyahu, the whole challenge is very different. Israeli leaders argue that every attack must have consequences. Otherwise, deterrence weakness. This difference in approach, it is creating one of the most fascinating geopolitical debates in the world today. Now, is diplomacy stronger than military pressure, or does restraint invite more aggression? Well, the answer here, it could shape the whole future of Middle East.